There has been a lot of talk about Hunter Biden lately, but the most recent news is the most damning and damaging for Republicans, because an ex-FBI informant who James Comer cited as his evidence for this great Biden corruption that never existed just pled guilty to making false bribery allegations against the Bidens. The truth has come out. The truth we always knew, and the truth that Republicans were always trying to spin to fit their narrative that President Biden was somehow corrupt and that was disqualifying of him, even though he wasn't. But Donald Trump's corruption, his convictions, his criminality, those were fine. But now, once again, the truth is being exposed and Republicans are trying to come to grips with it. And it's pretty embarrassing. And we saw the main culprit, James Comer, get humiliated after getting caught in this lie on national television just today. And I can't wait to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this Comer takedown.
And joining us now is Republican Congressman James Comer of Kentucky. He serves as the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks for coming on. So you just heard Manu's report. It appears this Matt Gaetz report will be made public. Gaetz admitting in a social media post moments ago that he was a womanizer and partier, which he said is embarrassing, though not criminal. Do you support the release of this report? If not, do you know of any efforts to stop it?
Thankfully, I'm not on the ethics committee. I don't know what's in the report. It's not entirely unprecedented for them to release a report on a former member. The last time that happened was Bill Boner, who represented Nashville. I knew Bill Boner because when he left Congress, he ended up in my hometown of Tompkinsville, Kentucky, managing a business there. But, Gaetz is going to have an opportunity to defend this, and I'm sure he'll be given plenty of TV time on CNN and other networks to defend himself against any allegations in the report that may or may not be true. I have no idea, but I know that the Ethics Committee voted to release it, so it's going to be released and America will be able to see what's in there, and hopefully Gaetz will be able to defend himself once the report's released.
Are you surprised, though? Because clearly Republicans got on board for this to be released. Are you surprised at all or not, given Gaetz' standing with many members of the GOP?
Yeah, honestly, Pam, I like Matt. He and I came in together along with Mike Johnson and Liz Cheney, and we had a pretty big class that started in 2017 was my first full session. But at the end of the day, there were a lot of people, Republicans, that didn't approve of the way that Gaetz worked with the 211 Democrats to have the motion to vacate succeed and get rid of McCarthy, and that led to 3.5 weeks of pretty tough living conditions here in the Capitol, trying to find a replacement. So I'm not surprised. I think it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I think that the American people probably want to see this ethics report. I think the Ethics Committee knew that. Now, hopefully, Gaetz will be given plenty of opportunity to defend anything in there that he feels isn't true.
I want to talk about the spending bill. Members of Congress are now set to get a cost of living pay raise in this 1,500-page bill. The first time in 15 years. Do you agree with this?
Well, I was surprised to see it in there. No one had told me it was going to be in there. I know that, as you said, Pam, there hasn't been a cost of living increase. It's been suspended for the last 15 years. So, it's one of those things that I think that a lot of members of Congress were advocating for a pay increase. I was not one of them, but, if the pay had been increased with the cost of living adjustment, if they haven't been suspending that, congressional salary, I believe, would have been $243,000. This year is $174,000. That's a lot of money in Kentucky, so I'm not complaining about the pay, but I was surprised to see it in there when the bill was being explained. That was never mentioned, so it was kind of a surprise, and I'm still trying to develop an answer because I know there are going to be a lot of questions about it, not just from the media, but when I get home.
Yeah, I mean, I think some Republicans are upset that stuff like this was added at the end. They didn't know about it. It's 1,500 pages, the spending bill. They're upset with Johnson. Does Johnson have the votes to be Speaker in January?
Well, we're going to find out. I think he will in the end. I think that the president's going to have a big influence in this. And, every time I see President Trump at a big event like the Army-Navy game, he has Mike Johnson with him. So leads me to believe that Mike Johnson's who Donald Trump wants to be Speaker. I think the only way Mike Johnson does not get reelected Speaker is if Donald Trump came out and said he preferred someone else. Then we'd have to go through the process again. It's very difficult to get practically every member to agree, because I think we could lose 2 votes on the Speaker's race. If 2 Republicans vote against whoever the Speaker nominee is, then it can still pass. If 3 vote against him, then it fails to get the minimum number. So we've been through that before. I don't think many of us want to go through that again. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I think because of President Trump's strong support, I think Mike Johnson will be reelected Speaker.
I want to turn to the fact that you led the impeachment inquiry into President Biden. This week, an FBI informant that Republicans relied upon pleaded guilty to lying about, well, I'll let you talk, pleaded guilty to lying about the Biden family. He admitted, for our viewers who haven't been following this closely, he admitted to lying to the FBI when he said a Ukrainian energy company was illicitly paying off Joe Biden and his son Hunter. What is your response to this, that he pleaded guilty to lying now?
The FBI said this guy was Christopher Wray said it, and Jamie Raskins came out and repeated it. This guy was an honest, trustworthy source. We did not rely on Smirnoff in the investigation. The final report, his name was never in there. This was Chuck Grassley's witness. He wanted us to question him. We questioned a lot of people. I think it says more about the FBI having paid Smirnoff over $200,000 and used him as a reliable witness than it does about us wanting to ask the FBI's witness about the investigation. At the end of the day, Hunter Biden took over $5 million from Burisma. Joe Biden fired the prosecutor who was investigating Burisma for corruption. Then Joe Biden pardoned Hunter for a broad blanket pardon that would include anything that might come up in the future about Burisma. I think the American people are pretty convinced that the Bidens were up to no good with respect to this Ukrainian energy company that paid his son, who was a drug addict and had no energy experience, $5 million. Pam, he got more money for, let me add this, he got more money being a director of Burisma than the directors of Exxon or Chevron or Mobil got paid. I mean, that says a lot.
Right, the son of President Biden, Hunter. And it is true that this FBI informant pleading guilty was used by the FBI, paid as an informant for many years. But, and I understand you're now trying to distance yourself, saying he wasn't a big part of the investigation. But I do want to play what was said at the time. Let's listen to that.
Even a trusted FBI informant has alleged a bribe to the Biden family.
Speaker McCarthy had a phone call with Director Wray. He demanded that they turn over this document. This is a very crucial piece of our investigation.
The most corroborating evidence we have is that 1023 form from this highly credible, confidential human source.
And even your colleague Jason Smith, we should point out, tweeted that the informant's phony testimony, now phony we know, to the FBI was a smoking gun. Do you regret playing this FBI informant up at the time at all, even if you say you didn't ultimately rely on him?
I didn't play it up, and we asked everyone. Bob
But you said it was a crucial part of the investigation. Well,
it was. Everything was a crucial part of the investigation. I think the bank records are the most crucial part that show the Bidens took in $27 million from our adversaries around the world. They took in $8 million in loans that they never repaid back. That's $35 million, and according to the Irish whistleblowers, they never paid a penny of taxes on it. That's the crucial part of the investigation. We would interview anyone that claimed they had information. Christopher Wray said this guy was credible. Chuck Grassley wanted us to interview the guy. That's why McCarthy said that. That's why Jim Jordan said that. I never said he was a crucial part of the investigation. I said I want to know. No, I said I want to know. I want to know what this guy told the FBI. If the FBI had a record that said this guy said they took a bribe, well, we've got $5 million deposited from Burisma into Hunter Biden's account. We know he didn't pay taxes on it because that's what Weiss charged him on. And we know Joe Biden fired the prosecutor who was investigating this company that paid his son $5 million. So obviously we're going to interview everyone. So if the FBI was paying Well, and most of what he was charged for, Pam, was tax evasion. Tax evasion is what he was charged for. So I think the FBI is trying to save face on the way out, but that's the reality of it. The Bidens took a lot of money from bad people around the world, and that's why Joe Biden had to pardon his son.
Okay, so just you threw a lot out there on the prosecutor. Biden at the time argued he wasn't doing enough to investigate corruption. That's why he wanted him fired. But okay, but hold on. But let me just ask, this is a simple question. Right. You threw a lot out there. Of course, the White House says President Biden never benefited from any of his son's business dealings. If you did have the proof, if you did have enough evidence, why didn't you have enough support from your Republican colleagues to move forward with the impeachment inquiry?
They did. We voted unanimously to move forward with the inquiry. It wasn't a failed effort. That's what CNN's trying to say. It was a very successful effort.
I'm not trying to say that. It's just a fact you didn't have enough Republicans on board because they didn't see the proof that was necessary.
That's not true. That's not true. Every Republican in our conference voted to proceed with the impeachment inquiry. Now, Trump got impeached twice by Jamie Raskin and the Democrats. He's fixed to be sworn in as President of the United States. The Democrats have devalued impeachment. We did impeachment inquiry to be able to get more information, to be able to have a standing in court. Because if we were just investigating Joe Biden in a regular investigation, when we went to court to get like the pseudonym emails and all the stuff that they failed to turn over, then the White House was going to argue this is political. But if all the Republicans vote, which they did, 100% to move forward with an impeachment inquiry, then we have better standing in court. That's why we did the impeachment inquiry, and it was a success. And I think when Joe Biden issued the pardon to his son, a blanket pardon, I think that validated what we did. And I'm going to predict he's not finished pardoning family members.
How can you not be humiliated if you're James Comer? I guess maybe he's fine with it. He knows he's lying. He has always known he's lying. But just such a ridiculous way to spend your time in Congress. Of course, Republicans don't care about serving their constituents. All they want to do is get on TV, get on Fox, get donations. But James Comer, not a good look. But it's good to know we are right all along. What a shock that was. And we're going to be continuing to talk about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.